Hi friends, and welcome back to the Summer North American Regional number 2 at the ESL Studios in Burbank. Gillyweed here with Jay Howe at the desk. Once again, what do we decide? Is it Jay Howeed?
I think we went with Jay Howie. There was somewhat of a vote or creation of things yesterday.
Informal
I think that was the informal vote. Very informal.
Well, how are you doing? Are you excited for this match?
This I'm excited about. This is the new blood. This is the chance to go to face Naventic in the finals. This is crazy right now. The Gale Force looking so strong. I mean, we've seen such a just drastic climb for them up the ranks, and here they are with a chance to make it to the finals today.
But Astral Authority also having their best showing yet.
By
this
far.
Is the first time that they've ever made it to the semifinals, and they're up against Gale Force eSports. That was a matchup we got to see at the first regionals. It was a 2-1, so we're hoping for a pretty awesome matchup once again between them.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement going on. Astral, their first time making the top 4. Gale Force has been here, and they're looking to take the next step. It's a matter of who's going to be here. And keep in mind that one of these teams still has to take down Naventic, because if they don't take down Naventic, they have somebody else in line, Gilly.
Exactly. They will have to play versus Cloud9 in that match, the tiebreaker match. But let's talk about our teams at hand for this matchup. Astral Authority is here. And of course, one of the most picked heroes is Illidan. Illidan and Sonya showing how much emphasis they place in their shot caller and their engager and Equinox.
Yeah, for sure. They tend to draft around him and revolve around him. And one of the things that we'll probably see updated after this is how much Tracer he's wanted to get in. And that's something that we'll be able to talk about a little bit, because Tracer has made a huge showing largely because of Equinox.
That's a very great point. That's something that we're going to be talking about a lot when we get to around the draft phase. Is something interesting Astral Authority has been doing that nobody else really has been. A little bit from Brain Power. Specifically, they've been doing a little bit of the same, but changing that up for today in their match versus Naventic. But here you can see this is Frozen X. This is the captain of the team, plays a lot of the specialists for them too, and switches out with some of the assassins as well, kind of depending. Of course, if they get Li Ming is a big priority for them, and it's because of this guy right here.
This guy right here, Talking Trees. This guy in the right hero, he can do a lot of work. The thing is, the most interesting part about this is that if you were to basically take Talking Trees and look over at Gale Force eSports, you would see Crowan. These guys almost mirror each other in their hero pool and their play. Both stellar.
Right, they are going, Collusion once again with his lucky baguette. We'll see if it's still up there, or if the team are snacking on it during the match. Hopefully you can stay focused. Collusion honestly has been one of the people I've been most impressed with. Just in the past summer season for Astral Authority, the fact that he can be placed on new warriors we've never seen, and he always just gives the stellar performance. He always looks very strong. He's been doing it on Arthas this tournament. He's done it on Tyrael before. He's just always in the front, knowing when to engage, and he's been doing a lot for the team.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that's going to be there, but we are going to take a look at Gale Force now, and this again has been the team on the largest rise, the quickest rise in probably North American history, at least in my eyes. But you can see they have a heavy prioritization towards Falstad. That tends to lean towards Rafflecopter, but the same way that we looked at Equinox, we look at Michael Udall on Illidan there.
Yeah, this is specifically with Illidan and Michael Udall versus Equinox, why I think this matchup is going to be so good and the drafting will be so interesting. Not only do they share Li Ming, but they share a love for things like Sonya and Illidan. And they have, I like thinking of Gale Force eSports as a sort of super team here. There are a lot of people from different teams that we've seen in the past. You know, Murloc Geniuses had Fury right here as their warrior player for a long time. And he was even on Resurgence for a bit. Then you look at Kappa Wolves, Old Panda Global, and that's Akaface Michael Udall. Blaze had Rafflecopter for a very long time, and Crowan was on 2ARC. They've brought in all of these playmakers from different teams, and they have been just doing stellar, Jay Howe.
Yeah, speaking of Crowan there, he is Gale Force pick and all. This guy is somebody to watch out for. We've seen him time and time again make magic happen on Li Ming, as well as many other heroes. So I'm kind of curious to see what type of draft strategies we're going to see. But there's several other guys on this team, as you said, that are huge playmakers.
Yeah, Rafflecopter's been playing a lot of Falstad, but here is someone I want to talk about, and that's Akaface. When we talk about Akaface, it's for a long time been Brightwing, of course, and why not? He loves our little fairy dragon, but this event, more priority on Carzim, and it's really been working out for them.
If they missed yesterday's games, if anybody did, you missed some of the best palms I've ever. They were so clutch.
Gosh, yes.
So clutch on Cursed Hollow yesterday. It was absolutely incredible. But Michael Udall, as you talked about, Equinox and Michael Udall, they kind of mirror each other in terms of their play style. They are both super aggressive. At some point, when you have two people with that aggression, something's going to clash and magic will happen.
It will. I'm at least hoping for a 2-1. I don't even know if I could begin to make predictions for this match, but I think largely it will come down to how the drafts go and who gets their comfort picks, more of those comfort picks between the two.
The draft strategy is real, and who's able to manipulate this? We saw a little bit of trickery from Brainpower against Gale Force. I don't know if Astral was watching that and whether they were taking notes, but I think there's definitely something to be had for the draft. But again, these guys are the pros. They're here for a reason. Their hero pools are deep, and however the draft goes, I'm excited. There's so much to look for here.
Well, we're going to have the battleground be Dragon Shire, and that's one that we've been seeing pop up a lot more. Again, we had Shrines in the last one, but Shrines has really fallen off as these teams are trying to have different maps that they do better on so that they can make sure that they have an advantage somewhere, knowing that everyone has the advantage on Infernal Shrines.
Yeah, Dragon Shire is the one that we got to talk about a little bit yesterday, in the sense that early on, it might not necessarily be the most exciting, but when you get to 10 or when you start to get to those later stages to where kills actually matter, the whole map just opens up, and it is by far the highest potential outside of Battlefield of Eternity to have the most exciting matches. I mean, it's so crazy, Gilly.
Well, guys, I am so excited for this match. We are double-checking comms for Gale Force, so we're going to take a break just to make sure that everything is perfect and ready for draft number 1. We'll see you soon.
Where am I?
You're wanted for treason.
I've always been loyal to the Dominion.
Rogue agent, send reinforcements immediately. All hands to battle stations.
Our scans show that your memories have been altered.
The demon Asmodan had his ultimate victory within reach, until the opposing heroes dealt him a devastating defeat. Asmodan went back to the drawing board and rediscovered his love of the game. The Lord of Sin became the Lord of the Slam.
This is my house. Let's see if you've got game. There it is. Dude, welcome to my jam.
When I was a girl, I had a fear of spiders. I was told they felt no emotion, their hearts never beat. But I know the truth.
Love.
Overwatch. Watch the full animated short at playoverwatch.com. Rated T for teen.
Ruled Ashul Nerub. Then came a war I could not win. I was forced into servitude. But here, in this strange place, no one commands my power! I will conquer the Nexus! Those who oppose me shall embrace the web of death. I am a Nubarak. I ruled once before. I shall rule again.
Nubarak, a hero people have been excited about. We'll see if we see him here as we're ready for draft number 1. It's already underway with bans. Kael'thas from Astral Authority. Jay, how they have banned Kael'thas every single game as a first ban, except when they went to Shrines.
Well, Gilly, the more interesting thing is actually one of the things you and I got to talk about before coming on is how much Astral Authority allows Illidan through. And I'm actually kind of curious to see if they're going to try and manipulate this strategy even further. It's something that we've seen quite often, but they are looking at Sonya early, which means we might just be seeing Equinox on Sonya, not necessarily some other plays that we might have seen throughout the weekend so far.
Yeah, so what's happening is they're saying that, I actually asked Equinox, because I was like, you guys first banned KT even when you're in the second pick position, which is very normally the place that you ban Illidan. But even versus teams like Ventic, we saw them not want to do that, and they've said that they are comfortable, they understand Illidan, okay playing with them, and that with Tracer, who they've picked up, they feel like because Illidan can't stick to her, obviously he's going to have trouble self-healing, and so Tracer is their belief the answer to Illidan.
Okay, well, I love the fact that they instantly went into Tracer. I was actually wondering if they were going to do that. This is something that you've picked up on and, again, had the pleasure to talk to them about, and that's something that we've seen all weekend, and there has been some amazing plays by Equinox. He plays Tracer the same way that he would be playing somebody like Illidan, to where he gets to that back line and is an absolute terror, and with her recall, she gets in, gets out, and you're like, wait a minute, what just happened? It's amazing playmaking by Equinox.
Yeah, Tracer needs to be able to, or Illidan needs to be able to attack things, to be able to heal himself up, as well as kill things, obviously. If he can't stick to Tracer, then he can't do that. But what they like to do is pair Tracer with either a Tassadar or an Abathur. You really want the extra shielding along with supporting, and Gale Force has picked up on this. They study their teams, and now not only have they banned Tassadar, but they also banned Abathur.
Well, we see a little bit of a hesitation directly after that for the next 2 picks here for Astral Authority. So I wonder, is if you're talking about that, is if they're starting to be like, wait a minute, that's actually what we wanted. They figured it out. Or maybe they're just trying to figure this out. Murden, obviously a strong pick. Fury on that. Landing those Storm Bolts can really turn things around in their favor. But I'm kind of curious how they're going to manipulate this, whether they're going to have somebody on that back line, and with Uther still on the board, if they're going to go that or some other direction.
Yeah, it's a tough choice because they would love to probably steal Karzim away from Gale Force, given how much they've been able to do. Actually, Gale Force already got Rhaegar, so that's not even an option. Likely, we might see Uther here, but they also play a lot of other supports, so we'll see how they want to do that. They could leave the support to the end, too, especially knowing that Gale Force has Rhaegar. Speaking on Rhaegar for a second, he has the highest win rate for this particular event, hovering right around 80 right now, but it changes obviously as we get more and more games, but he's one of the highest prioritized and doing super well.
There's a reason he's first picked, and wow, instantly picking that up. I love the Zul pickup here, and Right Wing paired with Rhaegar.
This
I
is a
did not
double
expect
support,
that.
no warrior.
This is crazy right now.
This is so nuts. Okay. One of the things that we see sometimes, very occasionally, is using Illidan as the warrior, pretty much. Usually you see 2 melee assassins kind of have that in Zul, but what they do have is a lot of damage control with both Brightwing and Rhaegar. They have some global, which we know it's Gale Force eSports. We love it. That's why there was the Falstad ban versus them from Astral Authority. And Astral are actually going to choose Malfurion.
Interesting. I don't know if that's to try and help deal with the Poison Nova that could possibly be coming out. I feel like Skeletal Mages will be the choice to allow Illidan to do work on that backside, but Malfurion being the pickup here, Gilly, I'm not real sure how I feel about this. Thoughts? And with Uther still on the board, is this the right call?
It's strange. It's definitely strange. But Malfurion is going to have to deal with a lot, right? Usually you don't see him having to deal with, or doing very well dealing with burst damage, which if Crowin can land his combos, he really likes the magic missile builds. If he does that, he may not be able to do that though, knowing that Tracer's going to be constantly trying to focus him. This draft just got crazy quick, and I knew it would. I knew it would because these teams have very close hero pools. They know each other, they've studied each other a lot, and they've rose up right around the same time. So they just are able to understand what each one is trying to accomplish in the draft.
I really just thought I'd see an Uther to try and get that hard CC against somebody like Illidan on that back line. But these teams are scrimming. They have strategies. I just wonder how much they've tried something like this and what we'll actually see out of it. So the draft took a turn for a little bit different today, Gilly.
Astral has let through Illidan every time. It's worked out for them all the times except when they went up against an Aventic. We'll see if it works here. Astral Authority is in blue with Dark Chimera playing Malfurion, Talking Trees on Sonya. I wonder if that means Leap. Equinox playing Tracer, Collusion on Muradin, and Frozen X playing Sylvanas.
And for Gale Force eSports, that's going to be Fury on Zul. That's going to be their tank player. Rafflecopter on Rhaegar, Michael Udall on Illidan, of course, Akaface on his usual Brightwing, and Crowan on Li Ming.
Well, here we go, guys. Game number 1 between Astral Authority and Gale Force eSports.
Dragon Shire, Gilly, I'm really curious with this composition from Gale Force eSports if they're going to try and force the action early with a comp like this.
Yeah, the thing is they have to get taken down fast, and it's hard to do with the double support, but that is the charge that Astral Authority has. And already the votes are starting to come in. Don't forget to tweet using the hashtag HGC to vote for your favorite team or who you think is going to win.
Well, the thing that I love about this is the global mobility of Brightwing to come in and be able to shift in and use that poly to be able to try and get those picks, as we see already under assault is Michael Udall, and they are going in hard. Not enough of a follow-up, but there's the shift in from Brightwing. A little bit of return fire coming in from Crowan.
And one thing to keep in mind with Malfurion, since we don't see him very often, is his positioning will be so important. There is nothing that will enable him to get away. Later on, he can pick up Ice Block, but until that point, danger, Will Robinson.
Yeah, I think there might be a little bit of manipulation. Will we be seeing Tranquility, or will we be seeing something else as a counter to Illidan? Perhaps that's what they're going to be looking at.
Super dive heavy, maybe. All right, well, we'll see if the dream is going to be real. I know my dream is that we also get Leap.
Well, I think that's the case. I mean, if they're looking at that with Malfurion, you could possibly be looking at a leap into the back, but the fight is going to rage on here in the middle as they tend to be trading back and forth. Of course, Zul does help out. You can see quite a bit of damage. The roots are in, and Fury going to be the first to fall, Gilly.
First blood for Astral Authority, and they're going to continue to try to make sure that they keep control of the rotations. Thing to remember for Dragon Shire is you want to start draining the ammo. Brightwing's going to come in, though, and there's a Polymorph slowing down Trees. Will not get hit by the Arcane Flare. Li Ming's going to go down, and Trees survives.
Wow, this is basically a back and forth. We saw the bait up at the top and the action going down all over the map already. This is far quicker pace than we saw yesterday on Dragon Shire, and I'm absolutely loving the early game aggression so far.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome series. I keep saying it, but I keep feeling it. And look how Astral Authority have been able to do this, pushing the waves with Sylvanas. This means they can start to do great damage to towers, but also Malfurion's not a bad one to have in the rotation either, because Moonburn does 100% more damage to minions.
Chimera is somewhat getting out of there. He's being chased by Rafflecopter on Rhaegar.
No!
Is it going to be enough? Chimera trying to stay alive. The totem not able to secure the kill, so Malfurion does live. But there's the follow-up with the Stormbolt, Gilly.
And he is stuck. Equinox going for the fight, still hits him with a melee. Can he bring down Rafflecopter? He does.
Wow, the plays from Tracer on Equinox are unbelievable, Gilly. This is something we've seen all weekend long. They already have 3 kills 2 minutes in.
Yeah, they are nearly a full level ahead too, and they hold both of the shrines. But Gale Force have level 4. They do have a few more seconds without Rhaegar here, but they have a couple of people in the mid making sure that nobody gets an early Dragon Knight.
Well, this is a one-on-one that does get a lot tougher when Brightwing comes in, and this is something that we've seen, holding on to that Polymorph, waiting for that Whirlwind, which is what heals up. But Akaface in a lot of trouble with the rotation up. Equinox once again with the takedown.
It's like Astral knew that Brightwing was going to be coming up. I mean, they obviously saw the phase shift, but Tracer was already on the way there to help out Trees. And that means they're still going to hold the shrines, which puts some urgency in Gale Force. They have to keep people in the mid. That means they're not rotating down and back with their Zul, which is who they would want to, and they are going to lose the Dragon Knight, J-How.
An early pickup, 3 minutes in so far. This comp is working beautifully. A level lead, a Dragon Knight, 4 kills right now for Astral. They couldn't have asked for a better start.
And this is not only a Dragon Knight, but a Dragon Knight with Sylvanas, and the split pushing from Astral is excellent. They have to respond to the Dragon Knight, who is getting towers in mid, giving experience. But in the bottom, only Brightwing to try to stop Frozen X and Dark Chimera, who are starting to put damage on the forts.
Well, that is extending the lead just a little bit as level 7 picked up by Astral, and you can see the rotation up. Michael Udall Invasion already popped trees, just coming in, trying to clean up a little bit. But in the middle, we have Murden just kind of sitting, waiting, trying to keep an eye on things, but already a priority towards the siege camps for Astral Authority.
Equinox not quite hitting Illidan. He can be a tough one to try to stick with the pulse bomb, but well, we've seen a lot of great sticky bombs from him in the past, so I'm sure he will be able to continue to bring those to the game. Gale Force going to get their bruisers to help out with that top lane. They're down their level 7 talents, so they're playing a little more passively, still trying to soak just to get up to that. But I love how Astral has done this. The fact that Gale Force have not been able to rotate between mid and bottom with Zul means they cannot keep up with Sylvanas.
I mean, Zul is such a strong laning presence on any map, but particularly here, as well as he can push up those lanes and be able to eat up some of that ammo. But the return damage here between Sylvanas and now the siege camp pushing here, I mean, so far, Astral Authority, they're on their race to 10 well ahead of Gale Force, and they force the action. If they get there, Gilly, this is how you really start to stretch the lead.
Yeah, just continuing to widen the lead. And they may, if we see them start to hide heroic abilities, I think that's when we're going to see something really cool with their composition. Now, there is the stuck. With Akaface coming in, Equinox recall out of there, does not want to have to take that 1v2. Talking Trees dealing with the bruisers that are putting on some damage to the towers, and every little bit will help Gale Force, but not if they lose Akaface like this.
Akaface in trouble once again, but the polymorph is there, and there goes Equinox in once again. Is he going to pay for his life? That's a 1-for-1 trade. The pressure is there. Collusion trying to stay on. Nice wave over by Frozen, trying to get a little bit of a body block, but on the back there, Gilly, Crowan doing some damage.
Everything was great with the rotation there from Fury, but Illidan is down, and that's a second kill for Astral, still winning this engagement. And Crowan needs to be careful of Storm Bolts. The rotation from Fury was so good. He came in, he knew that a lot was down for Tracer, so he threw the Bone Prison on her and she couldn't get away, and that at least helped him get the 1 kill, but in losing 2, Astral is very close to heroic abilities. This is really the time that Gale Force is trying to come back in this.
Yeah, they're trying to put a little bit of pressure, ward them off just a little bit. As you can see, the Li Ming damage poking there onto trees, but level 10 now picked up.
Oh, but Frozen X is still going to get taken out. They might be able to get Grow in, but people are pretty low for Astral. They are going to get her trees whirlwinding just to try to stay alive and will get out. So it was a 1-for-1, but still heroic abilities. Tranquility is there, so all the normal heroic abilities. Uh-oh.
Rafflecopter just barely able to survive once again. Equinox is absolutely pressuring every bit of Gale Force's back line, but luckily for them, they're about to hit 10 and try and even this up a little bit.
Yeah, this is a really hard part when the Dragon Knight is available, but you don't have heroic abilities right around the second Shrine phase. And that's why Astral is being so aggressive. Even if they don't get the Dragon Knight in that time, they're still trying to at least get some towers down, do some damage, open up the area for maybe taking out a fort if they can't get the Dragon later on. Heroics are here for Gale Force eSports. Instead of Poison Nova, it is the Skeletal Mages that will enable them to be able to chase a little bit easier.
We've got a little bit of a fight possibly going over. Astral Authority trying to keep control of this, as we now see they have both shrines. In the middle it is Tracer going to go ahead and rotate up, and we see Rafflecopter as well, but Tracer recognizes that. Could they be looking for the Dragonite? But Illidan there in the middle took a return.
Yeah, they're on guard duty. It's once again Illidan versus Tracer, and Sonya is going to come up to help out with that. Still the fight is raging over top, and with 2 versus 1 in the mid, this should be something that Gale Force can get, but actually Rafflecopter already come down, Metamorphosis goes out, the top shrine grabbed for Gale Force, so they no longer have to be too scared about this. Ancestral Healing is used just to keep Michael Udall in the fight.
Gilly, you talked about this before the game even started. Tracer can get all over Illidan, and Illidan has so much trouble keeping up, and you see already the Ancestral was baited out. I mean, this is a tough play for Illidan right now.
And we've seen that a few times, but a good polymorph on a Collusion means Murden gets taken out, and with those Skeletal Mages now, Malfurion falls to. Great job slowing him down so Disintegrate can bring down Malfurion, and that's going to be a big power play for Gale Force eSports now.
They've turned it around. It's basically even in terms of experience. They've caught up in a few kills, and now they're starting to put the pressure on here in the top lane. As Frozen X going in very hard, had to use his Wailing Arrow, but he got caught out of position and gets taken down. A little bit of a misplay there.
Yeah, and that means that while everybody else is back up, now again Frozen X is down. So Astral Authority need to take a breath, not get someone else caught out, even if they lose this top fort, just so they can finally stop, have everybody up once again. And I like that Gale Force, instead of being overly concerned with getting the Dragon Knight during this time, make sure to put some pressure on the top fort, looking toward getting their level 13 talents ahead of Astral.
They're starting to put the pressure on indeed, but the siege camp picked up here by Astral Authority, trying to regain a little bit of control with the map. And you can see Akaface just kind of casually playing up in the top as we see trying to clear this out. They did manage to salvage the fort here in the top lane.
That's still fairly healthy there, and in the bottom lane, Astral still have that shrine. And finally, we'll be able to take out this bottom fort, likely, although it's taking Equinox a while, and Crowin's coming in.
Just one more poke, maybe? They're not willing to commit or overcommit. 13 picked up by Gale Force eSports. We see a little bit of hesitation on the rotation. Collusion just trying to keep an eye on the back line, making sure his team is safe. But Equinox going in hard once again. Rafflecopter was the target, and now we see the shift in from Brightwing, Gilly.
This is a fort that still has not died, and although they did have Sylvanas, she had to be up there to turn it off, and they were able to catch her out. Now Talking Tree's getting hit by the Disintegrate, and that's a second kill for Gale Force. This no warrior composition really starting to come into play now that they have their heroics.
Yeah, double support with that is really enabling them to just kind of put the pressure on. They're not afraid to be aggressive, and you can see that it's showing, and they're managing to pull this off really well right now.
Some things to consider too, Harvest Vitality, not a normal pickup for Zul, but because he needs to make sure that he can just stay as tanky as he can, that he went ahead and grabbed that, and that means that as he hits people with his Cursed Strikes, he's, actually that is Giant's Curse, my mistake, and that means he's going to be doing more damage to the Warriors, so Sonya and Muradin.
Yeah, we'll see how well that plays out. The Dragonite pushing middle down in the bottom. Dark Chimera being caught out. In comes the Bone Prison. Is it going to be enough? There's the Ice Block, and that is going to keep him alive, at least momentarily. And they're trying to return the damage, but Equinox taking quite a bit of a poke there.
This was a great push for Gale Force. Up in the top, Mercenaries have brought down the fort. They took down towers and are even sieging the fort in mid, which is getting a response too. But people in the bottom had to be there to clear out the Mercenaries, which means they have pushing on all fronts. And now where Gale Force have been behind for a majority of this fight, they're over a level ahead.
Getting a lot of value out of this Dragonite. Michael Udall having to retreat back there on Illidan. You can see Astral wanting to turn this around. Tranquility came out. You can see they wanted to be aggressive. Not able to land the Stormbolt there is Collusion. So they're just going to have to retreat with Tranquility now on cooldown. And they recognize that, trying to turn this fight back around. Metamorphosis is going in. I'm not sure how much they'll be able to follow up, but Michael Udall staying very aggressive as the Arcane Orb hits. But now Michael Udall starting to take quite a bit of damage. Can the Skeletal Mages secure? No, they're not going to be able to, so just surviving is Astral.
Yeah, they survived, but they still took a lot of damage there at the middle. They're going to lose the fort here unless the rotations can come in very fast. And they're scared they're going to be down level 16. So if they lose somebody, they will give 16 to Gale Force, but they should at least, again, barely save a fort. But Gale Force has been doing a great job of opening up the map now so Illidan can have free reign all around.
After things looked completely dominant, Gilly, early on, Astral was looking so good, and then all it took was a few mistakes up at the top, and now Gale Force has turned this game around. They have a full grasp on this, but this is Shire. One fight late in the game can lead to a Dragonite, which blows this game wide open. So right now, things looking good for Gale Force, but still plenty to come.
What amazes me is that Astral have not been able to take out that bottom fort yet. You see Rhaegar is in the bottom, watching out for it and making sure to safely soak so they get all 3 lanes of soak, and that is 16 for Gale Force. But Astral have snuck the Bruisers in the bottom. They have their Giants too. This will be a big mercenary push. Maybe finally they can take down a fort from Gale Force.
Maybe. It looks like Tracer is going in, but up at the top we have Gale Force continuing to put the pressure on, clearing out this Bruiser camp in the top. And we're another 25 seconds away from the next Shrine phase, and this is where we get to the late game at 16. Both teams are going to be there by the time the Shrines come up, and then this is where the Dragonites really start to hold value.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. As they get later and later, they start doing more and more damage, and with 16 here, Sonya gets a lot tankier thanks to Nerves of Steel. We also have Stone Form for Muradin. That's going to help a lot. Tenacious Roots, though, for Malfurion. So they are trying to be able to lock down potentially someone who gets too far forward, maybe Zul or Illidan, but it's 16-2. Zul gets amplified damage. So now, whoever they catch in that Bone Prison is just going to get melted thanks to all of the damage that Gale Force has.
Equinox is able to close the gap quickly. We see that he is down there trying to get vision, but up at the top we have Akaface up here on Brightwing. Remember, if a fight begins to rage, Akaface just shifts right in and turns the tide back into their favor, and you can see the manipulation of Brightwing by Akaface, so experienced, so well done.
That is a style that they are so comfortable with, is having somebody who has the global ability. Means that they can do something like that, a split push. Akaface is going to get stuck but is nice and healthy to be able to survive through that. But the fight goes on in the bottom, and as soon as they see the phase shift from Brightwing, they move in. They know that the positioning can be pretty scary. And oh, Haunting Wave does not get teleported to, and Sylvanas gets taken out just in time for the shrines.
That was a beautiful polymorph, perfectly timed to be able to secure that kill. Nicely done there. So Dragon Knight, could it be coming out here, as we do have that again? The longer this game goes on, the longer the death timers. Another 30 seconds without Sylvanas, if they're going to be able to rotate up, or it looks like they could possibly be pushing through the bottom to start to get some more of this structure damage in.
Yeah, they've opened it up even more. Every 4 is down, and they can push onto the towers in front of Keep, potentially. Equinox is guarding, maybe seeing if somebody is going to rotate up to that top, and they do see that Michael Udall is the one looking to go up there. So if they can just stall this out for a little bit longer, they'll have Sylvanas back, but the fight might come in before that, J-How.
Yeah, the polymorph was out once again, and up at the top we see all over Equinox is Michael Udall. This is one of the toughest spots. He doesn't have the blink available, and down goes Tracer. The Metamorphosis going in, Trees in all kinds of trouble. The magic missiles hit, and now we have Dark Chimera under assault. Tranquility not going to be enough healing. 2 members down from Astral. Trees just barely going to survive, but another huge win for Gale Force.
They forced Equinox to use Recall early on in that, and then whereas Illidan maybe can't normally keep up with Tracer, he had no problem with it there, and that is Tracer down, Malfurion too. No escape once again. He had Tranquility healing everybody up, but it's a slow burn, and with a lot of ability to burst damage, burst people down with amplified damage, and even Li Ming. It was 2 quick kills that now is enabling Gale Force eSports to not only have a 2-level lead, but a Dragon Knight yet again.
This is a tough moment. They did a little bit of work earlier. Remember, they were in the bottom lane. They cleared out a little bit. They've also cleared out the middle, and this is a very strong position. The minute they take down the next structure, this should easily be 20, and this is very threatening to Astral right now.
Malfurion is back up, and the bottom lane, it looks like they do want that to be the place where they try to take down the Keep, knowing that they've done damage on structures, and the fact that it's the bottom lane. That's the place where there is 3 mercenary camps that can push, so usually that tends to be the place where teams look for a win condition and priority for taking out a Keep. Astral Authority, we're looking for the trap. Do they find it here?
Well, getting punted away, that's not going to be the best scenario for them to go. Dark Chimera under assault once more. Nice roots will be able to keep Illidan in place, but the Dragon Knight starting to go up. It's going to start chunking away at the Keep, but look at the magic missiles continuing to chunk away at Collusion, hitting him time and time again. Growing on that backline is an absolute menace right now.
I mean, these combos have been really tough for Astral to deal with, and that a lot of time really comes down to, again, Malfurion. He's doing what he can. There's the Metamorphosis. They take down the Dragon Knight, but Illidan is still on the core. Skeletal Mages are out. Fury was silenced, but everyone is throwing what they have at the core. Li Ming goes down, though. Fury will too. Is this a throw, J-How?
Michael Udall is where the action is. The Ancestral does land 15%. It does look like they're going to take it, and the core goes down. That is what Illidan does. He helps secure the game, and that is game number 1 going to Gale Force.
It started out pretty shaky for Gale Force at the beginning of that, but once they got their heroic abilities and found a couple of people out of position, they found their stride and were able to win game number 1.
Early on, Gilly, I mean, this was complete control. Look at this. I mean, they wasted no time. A minute in, first kill, Fury goes down. Things looked so good early on, and here it is, continuing to put the pressure on, continuing to get the kills. Astral, tale of 2 halves here, Gilly.
Right. The early game was pretty tough for them, too. They were still waiting until they could get some really key talents until later on. I think a big one for them, too, was, of course, having amplified damage, but a lot of Illidan's ability to get tankier later on. He still ended up getting reflexive block, even though they're up against Tracer, something that we hadn't seen before, as Tracer could burn through those block stacks pretty quickly, but it did at least help him sustain through a little bit of damage. But again, I think a lot of it comes down to the Malfurion just trying to sustain through so much damage.
I mean, this right here was another mistake by Frozen X getting caught out, but that was where things really start to turn. And look at the assault on Equinox. They baited out all of his abilities, and then he wasn't able to follow up. And Michael Udall continuing to go in. And Chimera, Malfurion, again, the heals just, they're not sufficient against the comp like this.
I would love to give a shout out to Fury too. Obviously Fury is the warrior player playing Zul, but those skeletal mages were everything a lot of times to the team fights, being able to slow people down from trying to get away from Illidan, from just backing up, healing up with Tranquility and coming back into the fight. Not having the ability to do that because skeletal mages made them so slowed that Illidan was just on them, they couldn't get out of the fights.
Gale Force all weekend has looked so good and so comfortable as Michael Udall still continuing to do his thing. Never one afraid to put on a show.
Well, Jay, how I'm so happy right now because we are going to the Battlefield of Eternity, which is my favorite battleground.
All action all the time,
Yes! I love decision-making that comes in with Battlefield of Eternity, and this will be Gale Force eSports map pick, which means there'll be a second pick. Astral will be first, and I'm wondering if we will just see a straight-up Illidan ban from Gale Force. Knowing how powerful he is, he's been doing well every time he can get picked, which obviously is not a lot. There's so many Illidan bans, but when he gets picked, as evidenced in the last game, he does well.
The more interesting part about Battlefield of Eternity, as you talked about yesterday, we tend to see the inter-game meta when it comes to different series, but at the same time, Tyrande is often highly prioritized on this map. But it's not something that we've typically seen, and Gilly, she hasn't done so well this weekend.
She's won one game. She's been banned a lot. But she's played, I think, 7 games? Yes, 7, won 1. It's not the best showing for poor Tyrande. And something that Dread touched on in the last one is a lot of times that they're pairing her up with that old style of ETC Tyrande, and when you don't find the picks, it's just not working out.
It is, but we will see what happens as it is now time for the draft. First band going to be coming out here from Astral. They're going to go ahead. Rowan, I think, said, hey guys, I'm back here. And they recognize that.
Trees is pretty sad about that, not having the Leeming, but it also means that they deny it from Crowan, and it was a necessity there. Gale Force, what are they going to ban? Do we see Illidan here? Do they let him through, knowing that both with Tassadar and Illidan, there's a lot of potential strong picks if they continue to allow him through?
I just wonder if Equinox is still really high on Tracer, or whether it's certain maps, and if it's something we're going to see. He's wanted to play it time and time again. It's something that they've practiced a lot, but with that being said, Gilly, Tracer, first ban. I mean, this is just crazy. And guess what? Astral instantly picks up Illidan, which, again, screams Equinox.
It does scream Equinox. And Tassadar now available. Gale Force potentially could get him, something like a Tassonia. Muradin is also doing it pretty well and very important to a lot of the teams. Obviously, Gale Force ran a No Warrior last time. Sometimes we see No Warrior again on Battlefield of Eternity. And there's Greymane, too. It does great damage to those Immortals.
Greymane has been he's been quite good this weekend, to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, he has just been fitting into comps. He fell out of the meta for unknown reasons, something about a cocktail nerf, but then he's just like, hey guys, I'm actually still really good. So good that he's actually going to be picked up here in the first rotation for Gale Force.
So what along with Greymane? Do they feel like they want Rhaegar here? Because he's been, he obviously did well for the last game. He's been doing well for a lot of the teams. They want to make sure that they have ancestral healing for him.
I definitely I would really like a Rhaegar pickup. I think it's something that we saw from Naventic earlier in the sense that they prioritize, well, I guess if Kael'thas is on the board, go that route. But look for Astral to possibly pick up Rhaegar here. But we saw it from Naventic. They have a high priority. They've been watching a lot of the foreign drafts, the Chinese, the Korean meta.
Did they just give Tass Rhaegar? Yeah. They just gave Illidan Tass Rhaegar.
I mean, Illidan looks a lot scarier real quick. They wasted no time picking up those two
Why
heroes.
would you waste time? Illidan Tass Rhaegar are available. Okay, well, we're gonna see how if that can help them bring it to game 3. That is pretty much exactly what you want. You want that exact composition if you're gonna have Illidan. That's the Illidan dream.
Is it enough damage for the Immortals though?
You just kill everybody, and then you go back and kill the Immortal.
I mean, I guess that's the answer to going after the Immortals. Just kill the guys. Don't worry about the Immortals so much. We'll see how all that plays out. Again, there's a lot of action in that entire. It's almost like the arena within the battleground. It just creates for such excitement. I mean, the first Immortal phase, you know what's going to happen. After that, it's all up in the air, and it's amazing.
Crowan, oh, okay. Oh, that was fast. So they pick up Falstad for even more damage. He also can soak until they get them talent tier advantage and then come in for fights. And Muradin too.
Well, we are going to see quite a bit of that for sure. Uther off the board. So I'm actually really curious what Gale Force is going to go with. If we're going to see something like Kerosene to go in. And keep in mind that Greymane, while he does play a hybrid role, Muradin, for the moment, is on the front line by himself. And that can actually be kind of scary in those tight areas where you could pick somebody off, be able to rotate around, and be able to get a pick on somebody even as tough as Murd.
That's very true. That's a great point. He's going to be looking for disruption, but will have to stay safe, especially if they end up fighting around their opponent's immortals. There's a lot of stuns that you can get pushed into. What do Astral get? Maybe they've been playing some Arthas this weekend. Okay, Vala. Vala is, I think this is the first time we are seeing her at this tournament, but she provides constant damage, consistent damage that they need for the Immortal. She also has escapability, which will help too with Vault. Who is the warrior for Collusion? Arthas, Tyrael.
Are we going to see basically a mirror of game number 1 as Gale Force, I guess, pushing their impression onto Astral? Will we see a no warrior comp coming out of Astral? I mean, the back and forth, the drafts already are looking completely different. First ban Tracer opens up Illidan, opens up Tassadar. I mean, it's just such an amazing thing. Vala here, I mean, you take Li Ming off the board, you have Kael'thas, Falstad over on the other team. I mean, it's just, oh, this is just such amazing strategy to watch between these two teams right now.
It is. The drafting has been very fun. The game 1 was too. I want more. And I'm liking where Astral is going with this, and I know they're really considering who will be the best warrior for this. When you look at it, of course, ETC, if they want to go in for Mosh Pit, but so what is happening? They don't have stuns to go with them. I mean, slows from Earth Grasp.
Stitches want to play.
You know what? They don't need stuns if they hook them into the stuns from the Immortal.
This is true.
I have seen it happen.
This is very true. Gilly, you are probably going to be a prophet for this game. We'll just see. You have to land the hooks in order for them to work, though. We're going to see how much Collusion has been practicing his fishing skills.
You know what? I have faith in Collusion because every time I say, oh, this is the first time I'm seeing Collusion on a new warrior, not sure how it goes fine. I think Collusion will be great there. This is one last pick for Gale Force. It is their support.
Will they just go Brightwing?
I think it'll be Karazim.
They've
been playing him a lot. Oh, okay.
Go with what you
were
know.
right.
Go with what you know.
Brightwing here, lots of globals. Many globals, but this is Battlefield of Eternity. It's not Sky Temple, it's not Towers of Doom, it's Battlefield. There's 2 lanes, and you fight a lot in the middle.
Gilly, I think when we looked at draft data for the last 2 months, I don't know if Stitches has been seen by any of these 8 teams in qualifiers or regionals. I want to double check that. I'm feeling pretty confident that we have not seen Stitches in a long time.
It's been a while. It is the first Stitches and the first Vala for this whole tournament. The strats are coming out, J-How.
Astral Authority, this is their lifeline. If they lose this game, they're done. I mean, they've made a great showing, but they are putting a lot in Collusion with that smile on his face right before we saw the Stitches pick. He's like, yeah, let's do this. And you can see they're definitely comfortable with it. I think they're wanting to have a little bit of fun as well. Obviously, it's going to be serious when the game starts, but these guys, if they're confident, I'm confident in what they're picking.
Okay, so here's one thing to think about, is they picked Stitches after Falstad was picked. So even though they know that Falstad can Mighty Gust away if there is ever a problem with picks with hooks, they went ahead and grabbed it. So they must feel very comfortable with Stitches.
I mean, almost every single person on Gale Force outside of Kael'thas has some type of mobility. I mean, obviously, Greymane has to be in certain form to be able to do that, but they all have some type of escapability, and Kael'thas is probably going to be very well protected on that back line.
My main concern with the Stitches is that there's no stun after the hook, but here we go, guys. Astral Authority will be the team in blue with Dark Chimera playing Rhaegar, Talking Trees, playing Vala Equinox, of course, playing Illidan, Collusion on Stitches, and Frozen X playing Tassadar.
And for Gale Force eSports, we're going to see Fury on Murden, Rafflecopter on Falstad, Michael Udall playing that Greymane, Akaface on Brightwing, and Crowan on Kael'thas.
J-How, get excited, because it's time for game number 2, going to Battlefield of Eternity.
He's already showing the hook off a little bit. He's just like, hey, look at this. This is what I'm going to be using today.
This is what will wreck Gale Force. We'll have to see if that's the case. I don't know, but I'm hoping that we see some pretty clutch hooks into the stuns of the Immortals. A lot of B-stepping.
How much fun are they having up there right now?
They're having so much fun. They're just showing off.
Look at this. The tides have turned on the voting here. I mean, Gale Force had a pretty substantial lead. It shows that you guys are voting. Gilly, I mean, did you expect to see that?
You know what? I think everyone just really wants a game 3 like we do.
Yes, very much so.
How could you not? The drafts have been fun. The games have been great. Early game advantage, the last one with Astral, but Gale Force able to turn it around and get back. And here we go with setting up the lanes. Now, Gale Force has to be careful always because of hooks. They need to always remember that. But they are going to find Equinox super fast.
Mistakes were made. That's
Maybe a
not the
little
end of the world.
Yeah.
But you got to keep in mind, you can almost say global mobility. This map is small enough for Falstad to fly to and from without having to worry about getting in position. He can get there when he needs to get there, and Brightwing is there as well. They can turn any fight at any time. I mean, obviously, Tassadar up at the top. It's not something you have to really worry about as Tassadar, but the rest of the map, you're going to have to be careful.
We're looking at potentially a multi-shot build for Astral Authority with level 1, but we'll see. There's always some change too. You could get composite arrows, and then Manticore trying to get more basic attack damage to do better with the races at the Immortals. With Lightning Bond, that's one that we see from Rhaegar a lot, especially on Battlefield of Eternity 2, because it does give some extra damage for those Immortal fights.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we do tend to see. Different talent picks on different maps and what plays well. This early on is going to be a back and forth until we get to the first Immortal phase, which will be here soon, but the back and forth, it's fairly even right now.
The different talent picks is such an important part of Battlefield of Eternity 2. On some of the battlegrounds, you don't see it as much because it's mainly focused around team fights, but on here where the Immortals are so strong, the objective is really, really good. That's where you'll see it. There's one hook on Crowan, the slam goes down, Equinox is going in, but it's going to have to get right back out of that.
The minute he sees, oh, look, it's Gale Thos, I think I'll dive in. And that's something you can expect to see. But again, I think when you look at rotations, Gale Thos should be fairly well protected. Will we see that skirmish here in the early on, or will there be the back and forth trade? And it looks like Equinox going in hard already.
Yeah, I like that they've got trees on the Immortal while the rest of them are going in for the fight. Equinox pushing back both Crowan and Aquaface, struggling to keep him alive through that. Gravity Lapse does hit Equinox, but still that will maybe be a kill. Crowan gets away, a perfect stun on Equinox just in time.
Fury rotating over, keeping Gale Thos alive, and that is what you have to worry about when you look at somebody like Brightwing. Not the direct heals, and if somebody gets on one of those heroes in the back line, that could spell trouble, and it almost did. Another Stormbolt is landing. Trees trying to get out. The vault isn't going to be enough as Brightwing is shifting in. Will we see the Polymorph follow-up? But the return Hungering Arrow from Trees is going to ward them back just for now.
Rotations from teams pretty good to make sure to keep people alive on both sides, from Brightwing and from Dark Chimera on Rhaegar. But yeah, Astral Authority has the double support, which means they can get into these longer sustained fights a lot better and fare better with it, whereas a solo heal Brightwing, Gale Force is going to struggle with that when a lot of damage starts to come out.
This Immortal's actually been up for a little bit. Michael Udall in a little bit of trouble. Equinox going in. Not going to get the takedown once again, but they're turning on Equinox. Illidan going to fall for the second time.
Man, Lightning Rod just does so much damage, and you don't even realize it's sneaking up on you until it's too late. Rafflecopter able to get that kill for his team. Gravity Lapse picks up Frozen X, but they're turning on Crowan, and with a hook, Gale Thos drops.
I mean, that is what they're looking for, and they're going after, and they get Aquaface to follow that up, and instantly they realize with 2 kills, they're finally starting to put some pressure on the Immortal, but they're rotating down. They're not done yet, Gilly.
Yeah, Collusion wants to make sure that he stalls this out and lets his team hit the halfway point. Then they can all go back and heal, get more mana. They need it, and respawn timers means that this could start to get risky. Rhaegar goes down. Michael Udall's in trouble. He'll get taken out. It's a 1-for-1.
Rafflecopter very low on mana. He's got to be careful. He can't stay in there and sustain much longer. So we're going to see there's that 50% mark, and this is going to be the burn phase. This is where it's on your neutral side, and you have a chance to try and win the first Immortal.
Citrus Grab Dampen Magic at 1. With the change in that, people are really enjoying it, especially on a new Barak, but it works here for Stitches too, especially with Gale Thos. Also, one thing to keep in mind, it's Brightwing. Brightwing, you don't want to pick cleanse. You want phase shield, which means there's no trying to cleanse out hooks.
Not at all, and this is going to be a first Immortal for Astral Authority as they've picked that up. It's a matter of what can they do with it now. Obviously, the first Immortal, this is your chance to try and get a little bit of a lead and then capitalize on it a few minutes later. We're going to see what they do, but they have no problem with a little bit of a split push with forcing the rest of the team down here in the bottom lane.
They knew the Immortal would go top because they took out a tower in bottom. They've got the split push with 4 people, but Tassadar to safely soak along with the Immortal. They're looking for that level 7. Gale Force responds appropriately. 2 people to defend the Immortal, 3 people down here looking for maybe a kill. A hook goes on to Crowan, and that forces Brightwing to come down too, which means there's only 1 person now up there defending versus the Immortal. But Michael Udall, with all the damage he can do as a Worgen, brings it down pretty fast.
I'm actually surprised that they've managed to hook Crowan that many times already. I mean, they're doing a great job. Collusion is landing these hooks. He has to land them and continue to land them to, 1, put fear in them, and then 2, eventually follow up on them as Equinox continuing to go in, but the return gravity lapse is there. Got to be careful with that living bomb. The hook is in once again. Akaface, he should be safe for the moment, Gillard.
Crowin will always be looking for gravity lapses. He wants to pick people up. He has Netherwind, which helps increase the range. He's going to do a little bit better and hold on for this because Frozen X is 1v2ing people. He loses the Cosmo camp, and with Brightwing coming in too, he has to get out of here. Might be in trouble. Is going to shield himself. Polymorph and overextending. Uh-oh.
Overextending just a little bit. Fury a little bit low. The fort is falling here on the side of Gale Force eSports, but a camp and the rest of the team now starting to push the top lane, trying to keep this even in terms of experience. It's 4-3 in kills, but Equinox not afraid to go in and try and go a little bit hard on that back line.
Equinox was almost there to help out Frozen X, but it was just a little bit too late. They'll clear up the camp though. Gale Force catching up in experience, but Astral is still ahead. A hook again on Brightwing. For now, this is going to work. For now, this is great, and it brings down Brightwing. Later on, Blink Heal will help her get out of that. But
Equinox
for now,
going in hard, Gilly. He is not done. This is why you have to fear Equinox on basically any hero that can get to that back line, and this is the most enabling hero for Equinox.
ooh, Crowin waits to try to get the camp, but they're going to pay for it. Crowin goes down. Talking Trees just melts him with the searing attack. Michael Udall will not survive. Fury is getting a Brightwing shield in a couple of seconds. There he is. They'll get out, but still 2 for 1.
All action all the time on this map. 12 kills in just under 7 minutes. This is why this is the most exciting battleground in Heroes.
He will find no contention from me on that. I love Battlefield of Eternity. Here goes 4 fights. The stun was going down. Dark Chimera is in a lot of trouble, and a great polymorph from Akaface will secure that kill just in time. Stormbolt hits Talking Trees. Does he have vault? He vaults through the gate hammer. Oh, okay.
So close there, not able to survive was Chimera, and you can see this camp still pushing in the top is forcing them to defend a little bit. They're going to lose a little bit of the race here on the Immortal in the meantime.
Stitch has picked up Tenderizer, maybe to even help out. So once he does get a hit with or a hook with a basic attack, he can slow them down. And between that and the slows from Rhaegar, help ensure a kill from that. Later on too, they could also get frost shots from Vala, so they'll have lots of slows. But for now, they have their heroic abilities and Reign of Vengeance for Vala.
Yeah, they're going to try and force Gale Force off point right now. Reign of Vengeance is going to be the main thing. What can you do with it? Obviously, Strafe has a bit of value, but against the comp, you need some type of control. And could that be the follow-up to the hook? Is it the commitment? There's the hook in onto Kron once again, and instantly diving in. The shield should be there. The Metamorphosis going in as Equinox on the back line. The Putrid Bile keeping them slowed. Akafe is going to be the second to fall, and this is a huge win right now. Gale Force a little bit out of position without 10.
They just didn't have their heroic abilities, and now they lost people just as they're about to get them, and that again gives Astral more time to take out this Immortal. Whereas it looked like Gale Force might be able to get one with an early force to the midway point, now Astral are cleaning this up and again will put on the pressure.
Well, they dominated early, late game, or last game. They're doing very well here early game right now. Can they follow up on it this time around and even this series up 1-1? They're looking good so far, Gilly.
Well, now they have a lot to help with the hooks. Blink Heal is going to make sure that Brightwing may no longer be the target of those hooks. They also have Mighty Gust to help out with it too. So we'll see how that's going to play out. But with this Immortal, it's time for them to start throwing out the damage. They want to push with it this time.
Equinox going in, he wants to try and secure this fort. He is where you will see the action, but will we see a Mighty Gust out for the disengage? Fort number 2 is down. Portal's still somewhat healthy. We'll see if they can at least get the front wall here on this top keep lane.
The Immortal is plenty healthy, and they've been doing a great job of zoning, and all of Gale Force eSports, with that fort being pretty low, just couldn't chance it. So they're going to back off. Astral Authority are looking to get 13 as fast as they can, but they don't want to get into a fight. You can see them positioning in a way. Oh, okay. Barrel roll gets Rafflecopter away, but they're positioning in a way to make sure they don't get hit by gravity laps. That's a very quick engagement point from there with Stormbolts.
I love that positioning right there. Collusion, just like, hey, come chill over here. Let's see if we can land a hook. And they did. Unfortunately, it was on Falstad who can barrel roll right over. But I love this strategy. They are playing Stitches so well right now.
But
Peekaboo.
this is a problem. There's still no 13 yet, so this is a fair fight, and a Gravity Lapse means Collusion just gets taken out. That is one thing about Stitches, is he has the ability to get melted, and a big steal for Gale Force eSports here.
I mean, there was no hesitation. They were like, if we're going in, we're going to go and do this. We're going to catch them off guard, and they did just that. This is how teams turn it around. This goes to show Gale Force is on top of their game. Even though they're slightly behind, they still are making plays.
I saw people were out of the lanes. They were obviously going to be out of the lanes. They were pushed really far, so they had to be at one of the camps. It was a great guess to be able to know that they're there despite the fact that the Khazra camps are up, because usually you wait until later to get the Bruisers. But they saw the Bruisers, they got a kill from that, and they're getting some comeback experience. Unfortunately for them, Astral are still going to be able to get to 13 first.
They are, and that's because they have 2 forts down. The structure damage heavily in favor of Astral Authority right now on the cusp of 13. They do pick up the camp there, and they're going to start to rotate up. The next Immortal phase should be soon, and they're going to have 13. And I'm curious what Astral Authority is going to be able to do, and whether they're going to try and impose their will upon Gale Force.
Astral is wanting to clear out the Bruisers before they even get close to the fort, making sure that that's not even a problem for them. Meanwhile, Gale Force is doing the same thing. They know that the response from Astral will be top. They're going to go to the bottom and clear out those Khazra, but before going to the Immortals, Astral's going to come ahead in this sort of mercenary war that happens between the Immortals, because they will at least have a Khazra camp in the top lane.
I'm just curious. This is the part where we don't know where they're going to spawn. And it's going to be able to be very telling. If it's on a neutral side, it makes it easier for Gale Force to defend. If it's somewhere in the middle, I mean, it's kind of a tough spot for them to be in. As we see, it's now going to be there, and you can see it's on the opposite sides. This is going to be very interesting.
Astral wants to put as much damage as they can before Gale Force gets to 13 and they fight. Ideally, switching it to halfway. Metamorphosis and Ancestral Healing are so clutch, but they haven't done that much damage, and now Collusion is in trouble just trying to get away using Putrid Bile.
They went in, Gilly, they wanted to get some damage, but they found Gale Force waiting for them as Equinox just barely survived there, as he did get caught trying to soak 13 is Gale Force. And what does Astral do? They push so hard, and again, this is on a friendly side for Gale Force. Makes it easy for them to defend, rotate up, try and get 13, and rotate back down. It couldn't have been better right now for Gale Force.
The minute Equinox gets picked up by a Gravity Lapse, he's in so much trouble, and you saw what had to happen with that. He had to use Ancestral and Metamorphosis just to be able to get him out of there.
As you called it, Gilly, Crowan gets hooked in there, but they have the Mighty Gust available, and on that backside, falling in a lot of trouble. Rain of Vengeance in return, not going to be enough to save. Fury is low. We do see Falstad go down on that back line. Equinox going in onto Kael'thas, who's in a lot of trouble. The Gravity Lapse is there, but Kael'thas, is he going to be able to survive? He does go down, and now they're looking to do even more damage. Nice blink heal out by Akaface to be able to stay alive.
Illidan is here. He's shielded through everything. As long as they have the shields with the Gravity Lapse and they don't have the focus on him, which is not the case, Kael'thas can only do so much, and now they're going right back into this. This is a 4v3, J-How.
He's going in hard, and we see Akaface and Fury in a lot of trouble. Fury, is he going to be able to survive? The Dwarf Toss is going to be able to keep him alive, but they continue to come in. Remember, we do have another 8 seconds left on Mighty Gust before they can try and ward them off, but the 50% mark has been picked up here, and Collusion under a little bit of trouble here. Is he going to be able to survive, Gilly?
Frost Shots and the Earthbind Totem slowed them down enough that Collusion got out, but Equinox says, you may be wanting to get out of this, but I want to fight, and goes right back in, forcing out a Gust.
Another Gust, because the threat of Illidan pushed them off the line. Gale Force recognizes, hey, we have a little bit of an advantage for the moment. Let's put some damage on this Immortal, but they have to be very careful because Astral is on their way back.
So no Gust, no Avatar for a few more seconds too, and Astral wants to get right back into this knowing that they have an advantage, especially with these Immortals. They've pushed them back. They leave someone to watch out, watch the defense, and Tassidar's a great one because of Oracle. Oh, but Equinox gets picked up, and that is it. He gets eliminated.
That's all it takes. It almost happened the first time. No meta able to come out because he was under such control. The damage is real, and that is down goes Equinox, and instantly Gale Force rotates up. A little bit of a race here, though, Gilly.
They have to be watching for the positioning of Kael'thas with those Gravity Lapses. If he's able to take down Equinox like that, it's just too much, but Rain of Vengeance is going to be used. The Ancestral does not connect with Bala. Astral Authority, do they win it? No, Gale Force eSports wins the Immortal.
I mean, it was so close. I think there was 400, almost 500 health left on that Immortal. The back and forth continues, but the kills starting to pile up. Another good advantage there from Gale Force to get the pick there on Vala and helped him secure that Immortal.
It was Crowin. It's the gravity lapse, and that is only going to get scarier once he gets Sun King's Fury at 16.
No Li Ming, no problem, Gilly. He's like, I'll take Kael'thas, thank you very much.
I thought maybe that they saw that he was up, he'd been banned a lot, and that they were worried that Crone wouldn't have something to play by going so early with Kael'thas, giving up both Rhaegar and Tassadar. But now, as long as they can continue to hit those, that's everything. There's another gravity lapse, but Frozen X gets away. Dimensional shift, there's the Prescience Fury is right on his case. Ooh.
Wow, that was close. The Immortal took down the fort in the top. Hook not going to grab anybody. Immortal should be cleaned up here, but Gale Force again starting to get to the late game, Gilly, starting to take the lead and really force the action. We have 21 kills combined on both sides already.
This has been back and forth brawling just the way I love it. Astral Authority are watching out, making sure that they can get their bruisers this time, but it's pretty early. They won't have it timed out with the Immortals. And we'll see how they choose to go. They know that with everybody off the battleground and by picking up the top Khazra, it's very likely that their opponents are heading to their bruisers, but that's not where they're going. They want to fight over these Khazra in the bottom.
Well, we're going to see if they do get spotted. They're rotating down. They showed no hesitation earlier. They got the picks, and that's where it started to turn around. Although this is a different camp, it is going to be picked up by Astral. 16 on the cusp for both teams, already picked up by Astral.
Frozen X clearing out these Khazra. He hits the 16, but Gale Force is right behind with those two. By the way, Fishing Hook, the choice for Stitches. So now going for even more longer range.
Well, we're going to take a look as both teams continue the back and forth here. Executioner, of course, picked up by Vala. It's something that we've been seeing more and more coming out to be able to get that extra damage. We'll see how well that plays and whether they're able to get the picks. There goes the hook. Oh, just barely misses Rafflecopter.
I had to feel the wind off of that one. But with Executioner, they have a lot of ways of proccing this. There are a ton of slows on the team. Tenderizer we mentioned before, but also the Earthbind Totem. They have Putrid Bile, which is going to be phenomenal for it. They have ways of being able to do this. Even Frost Shot, she can self-proc it.
Well, we're going to see how well that plays out. Both teams at even talents. Here's the next Immortals in 10 minutes, but they're not waiting to get some action in before it happens. The hook just barely missing once again.
Executioner also picked up for Greymane. It's a battle of the CC, the stuns, the slows, and who can get it. But man, I'm very scared now because Sun King's Fury plus Executioner.
I mean, what Astral needs to rotate down. They just gave up almost half of the Immortal. It's on the friendly side. Now they're going to be forced to fight here, Gilly. They're going to be forced to fight for this.
They hook Fury. He does have Dwarf Toss. That's going to go. Equinox going in, and a Force Wall to keep it from going in. That will prompt Rafflecopter to use Mighty Gust, so at least they get that out.
Well, Astral Authority has some ground to make up now, and you see they immediately go into a defensive posture to protect their Immortal. They cleared that camp at the top, but they gave up so much. Rafflecopter being grabbed. The barrel roll not able to get over the wall. Now we see Equinox going in on the back once again. He is staying all over Falstad, but Akaface in a lot of trouble. Metamorphosis is out. Rain of Vengeance trying to secure Ancestral has landed onto Equinox as he continues to go all over Brightwing, who blink heals out, manages to stay alive, and the return gravity lapse from Kael'thas.
There is just so much escape from this Stitches. They have like no way of being able to lock somebody down after the hook. Barrel rolls, Dwarf Toss, Blink Heal, Gravity Lapse, Mighty Gust. They're having such a tough time even being able to catch somebody with this for long enough to take them out.
All of that action allowed them to catch up on Immortal damage, but Collusion in a bit of trouble. The Gravity Lapse, the Flame Strike. Look at Stitches' health go down so fast there. That's going to force them to back off and allow Gale Force to rotate down. Once again, the back and forth continues.
Now they're going for the fight again. They're waiting, trying to get Stitches back into this after being able to heal up, but it's going to be too late. Now what they want is the fight. Akaface blink heals back to Fury, but a Force Wall waits for it, and they find the kill they want.
That is it. They gave up the Immortal. They got the kill, and they're going to continue to stay on Michael Udall under assault from Equinox. He turns around. That allows him to disengage, but Greymane in a lot of trouble does get taken down. Are they going to go and try it? They're going to try and force the issue and take a keep. They know that the Immortal's pushing, but they have a fort there, Gilly.
Yeah, they've got a fort in the way, and this is really cool to see. They're going straight for the towers up in front of this keep, and they want to get catapults pushing and then then they can rotate back. No Mighty Gust for that, and they had so many slows to help them finally get that Greymane kill.
I mean, that's exactly what they were looking for, and they managed to pull it off, and now they could be looking for blood. They got to be very careful. Rafflecopter, of course, he has another 10 seconds. No disengage, but going in. Fury trying to ward them off just a little bit. Future Bow was used. Are they going to look to re-engage, Gilly?
They burn him down pretty fast, and that's again the Executioner. They also have Searing Attack, so Vala can do so much so quickly once Future Bow's there. There's a hook on Crowin, and Equinox re-engages.
Well, the Rain of Vengeance comes down right into that. Fury is going to get healed up. The Avatar is there, but the Ancestral already, the fight is on their doorstep. Fury in a lot of trouble, but Astral recognizes they are very low. Their mana is very low. They are trying to retreat. Tassadar trying to get away. He is the one you want them to chase. That's going to fly over. They should be able to secure the kill on Frozen X.
Yep, there he goes down, and it'll be a long time, 53 seconds until he's back. The keep nearly gets brought down. It was close, but they do save their keep. So while they have the catapults pushing there, their opponents do not. Gale Force are realizing this. They know that they're a little bit behind. A hook goes on to Rafflecopter. He's way slowed down.
Well, they got to keep. They stayed in. They forced the action. They're basically going to be giving up a keep for a keep at this point. Future Bow just trying to do anything to ward them up. He is trying to save that keep so much right now.
I've got to look at Tree's damage while you.
Oh, the hook there on Crow, and the blink or the shift in coming in from Brightwing, but Vala gets taken down, and now this is trouble for Astral as we do see Rhaegar fall, and all of a sudden 3 members from Astral are down. The keep is down, and Gale Force looking to finish Gilly.
This might have been a huge mistake. Now they've got all 5 members of Gale Force here. Equinox going to try to take them down while he can, but the core, it has lost its shield. They are bringing it down. Nobody has died, and this is it. Gale Force eSports bringing down the core.
And just like that, it turns around. Michael Udall is going to fall, but the core down to 10%. This is game. Gale Force moving on to the finals, Gilly, in a huge turn of events. It just blew wide open.
They got so down and out there, they lost their keep, but great play, great decision making, and I have to again talk about Kael'thas. So many perfect gravity lapses and the ability to just instantly blow up Illidan.
It was time and time again. As much as Stitches landed hooks, Kael'thas turned right around and landed gravity laps. The damage was real. They caught out Illidan, weren't able to secure the kill on the Immortal, but the second time around, they got the kill, and it just turned the game around on that point right there.
It was such a cool plan to see. We obviously saw once Vala got Executioner, she topped hero damage, 61,000, and from going from the sustained damage that she had to being able to blow people up, and especially with Illidan right there with him with his Tassadar shield. But it got so long to get there, and Stitches with the hooks, there were so many ways to disengage for Gale Force eSports away from it.
I mean, that is a repeating theme right there. Time and time again, nice hook there. As you can see, continuing to dive, put the pressure on, Brightwing coming in, but Equinox put the pressure on time and time again.
Their biggest hope was to hook Kael'thas, and even he could turn around with a Verdant Sphere's gravity lap to pick up multiple people. And with Gravity Crush and then Sun King's Fury later on, it was way too much damage for them, even with the double support to try to deal with.
All action all the time. As you can see, top and bottom of the screen, there were fights all over the place. Crowan fell there. But again, this is when about the time to where things were looking good for Astral, and this is here. The end. This is the beginning of the end, Gilly.
Yeah, there. Very quick kill on Vala, was taken out, and with Rhaegar down too, it was just too much to handle, especially with all of the members of Gale Force eSports still kicking.
I mean, rumblings from the minute I got here and throughout the entire weekend was Gale Force. Gale Force, Gale Force, Gale Force. And it was just time and time again. They've shown why they're going to the finals.
Well, let's hear from them now. We're going to go down and hear from Caleres and our victors.
All right, thank you very much, guys. I'm here with Rafflecopter, victorious, moving on into the grand finals. I want to ask you a pretty general question to start things off. How did you guys feel coming into the series against Astral Authority? Did you have any worries going up against them? What were your thoughts?
We were a little afraid of, they might pull out something crazy, an interesting comp. But for the most part, we felt pretty confident. Just based off scrims, we do pretty well against them, so we thought we were a better team.
In the first game, they actually went for a Malfurion over an Uther choice, which was some people theorizing a little bit of a different choice to what they actually went going for. What did you guys think of the Malfurion choice going up against your tankless composition?
Uther is definitely a little bit out of the meta right now, just because of the Conjurer's Pursuit nerfs at 1, stuff like that. I mean, I think Dark Chimera just maybe prefers Malf over Uther 2 a little bit right now.
Okay. And then going into game number 2, Obviously, you guys had I ended up giving them the Illidan, Tassadar, and Rhaegar. Was there any kind of fears going into that one? Obviously, it's a very well-documented composition that is something that can be a bit sketchy to deal with.
Yeah, we call it the God comp because it's pretty much the strongest comp out there. But we felt really confident with what we had. Like, we had a lot of bursts, and as you guys probably saw, we bursted them multiple times right before the Ancestral could even hit, and it was really fun.
Good stuff. So moving on into the grand finals, obviously if you guys are able to be victorious there, you guys move on to Summer. How do you think, and how do you anticipate it's going to go here in the finals, going up against the strong team in Naventic?
They're going to get bodied.
They're going to get bodied. All right, well, thank you very much, Rufflecopter. Good luck going into the grand finals. We are going to go to a break, but when we are back, grand finals time here from the North American Regional.